Dom and I and a couple of girls from the barn went to Fairhill International to do some cross-country schooling, kind of test out the TBs and see how they were going to go.
Fairhill can always be a bit crazy on these open schooling days where there's basically like 60 people unleashed on a cross-country course. And I was actually taking a new horse of mine, Kaz, who is basically a racehorse. He only raced about 2 weeks ago, his last race. So he is very green, but I'm really thrilled with him. He's a really exciting prospect. I'm not exactly sure what he's gonna do because this will be his very first cross-country jump. He's only actually jumped a few poles on the ground as it is. So we'll see what he does when we get up there and amongst all the horses. I grew up riding a lot of thoroughbreds and they're actually my favorite breed. So when you're in this situation where you've taken a horse off the track, this first experience when they're out, not on a racetrack, but they're in a completely new environment, basically it's like they have this much brain power and attention span and they're exposed to this much information. So it's not that unusual for the horses to get kind of hot and spicy and not really be sure what to do, which is pretty normal for an off-the-track thoroughbred. And Kaz wasn't really an exception. He definitely got a little tense seeing all those horses running around, but I was actually really thrilled with how he ended up. Once he started to get the idea that I was pointing him at jumps and he was going to get to the other side, he got the hang of it really quick. So once Kaz had jumped a bunch of cross-country jumps, it was time to tackle the ditch. And I definitely want every horse I ride, if it's their first time, they've got to see a ditch their very first time out. So we get up there and my first step is to just let him see the ditch, not even really try and make him jump it. And I do that by walking alongside each side of the ditch. And he didn't even want to have anything to do with that at first. Kaz was basically trying to make out like I was trying to make him jump it, even though I was just trying to have him walk up and down. But eventually he got the idea. But now that he's got to see what it is and not be too scared of it, it's time to actually present him to the jump. Surprise, surprise, he doesn't want to jump it. He wants to go back to his friends. I've been in this situation before. My biggest priority is straightness, not letting him turn away from the ditch or getting back to his friends. Even if he doesn't want to go over it and he takes a few backward steps, I keep him presented at the ditch because I know that he's going to go eventually. Lots of backwards and forwards in here, but I just keep my cool and be patient.
Oh, my little friend, everything is fine. Come on.
He takes a bit of a look at it here and I think he might go. That's a negative. And here persistence pays off and he jumps it, if not somewhat exuberantly, but we get to the other side. Once we successfully get over it, what's important now is to give him lots of praise and let him know he's done the right thing.
Good boy, good boy. What a horse, what a horse. You're such a good boy. Good job, good job. Good boy, good boy. Yeah, what a horse. What a horse. Yeah. Good man.
Now that we've conquered the very first ditch, half the battle's over, but I'm gonna keep exposing him to it. And he's gonna jump kind of funny, left and right, but he's a typical thoroughbred. Once he finally figures out that he needs to get to the other side, he does it enthusiastically, if not maybe a little too fast, but I'm still really happy with him. We all know event horses don't just have to jump ditches, they also got to jump water. And today is Kaz's first time. As I approach him into the water, I'm actually really thrilled with him. He barely looked at it and just charged right on in. Sometimes horses like to leap in, sometimes they take a lot longer, but he actually was really brave with it and I think he actually kind of likes water. Today, all I want to do is just have him go in and out the ramp. He's not ready to jump off a bank into the water, but I did add on a little ski jump on the way out and he did look a little bit, but he was still pretty brave. I'm thrilled with how he's gone today. Fairhill's kind of unique because these open schoolings, we have 60 to 100 horses of different levels. There's different riders, kids, instructors, green off the trackers, just running around the same cross-country course at the same time. So it's gonna test any inexperienced horse out to be able to handle that kind of pressure and stress. Kaz did exactly what I thought he was gonna do. He took a bit of a look around. He got a little hot at times and then settled in and was a good boy. Ella, on the other hand, Jimmy's OTTB, definitely the atmosphere got to her. She's had a couple cross-country schoolings where she's been excellent by herself, but today, just all those horses galloping around, it kind of cooked her a little bit.
My sweet Ella girl, sensory overload. Too many horses, too many people, a lot of yelling. I don't think her little brain could take it. So I spent a lot of time just kind of trotting and cantering around, letting her try and settle. She doesn't worry about the jumps at all. I mean, she'll jump anything. I pointed her out, she just jump, jump, jump. That's no problem. It's just the other stuff that she kind of struggles with. Another thing that happened today was Ella has discovered the Zenyatta step. I like to kind of call it Ella's salsa dance, but I've never seen her do it before. It was pretty funny actually, but you know, she just was way, way too overstimulated. So after she finally settled, we just kind of packed it up and went home.
Back at the farm, it's business as usual for me, basically trying to solve every problem that comes up on a day-to-day basis. Today, or what it has been for the last week, is a blocked wash bay. I have no idea where the outlet is. I got the septic tank pumped because I thought maybe the pipe was going into there, and that's what it appeared to be when we opened the septic tank lid. So I got a guy coming out today to actually jet the line and unblock it. Once the guy turned up with the truck to jet the lines, first thing we did is take the lid off the septic tank, which weighs about 1,000 pounds, and after popping a bunch of vertebrae in my back the other day trying to lift it, I decided it would be easier to just hook the chain up and lift it out with the tractor.
Yeah, I see the PVC one there.
That was the one he thought it was,
those two,
and then
yeah.
that one, I guess, is the one from the...
I'll tell you what, let me have you flush your toilet just to make sure.
Okay, sure.
Here's the one we need.
Next thing, we're trying to determine which pipe comes from where and what runs into which pipe. It's pretty unusual for a wash stall to go into the septic, but we have scoured the side of the barn and the grass and trying to find like just a regular outlet, and we couldn't find anything, so we're pretty sure it's coming into the septic tank.
That's actually the one. The PVC one's the one that comes out of your house. So that must still be the original. Or
Could it all be joined together, maybe? Maybe
Well-
like you said.
what I'm thinking, it's not this line here, the old terracotta line. This could be your outlet line that goes over to your field. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. So after kind of flushing and putting water down different pipes, we figure out that none of these pipes going into the septic have anything to do with the wash stall. So we're still trying to figure out exactly where the wash stall drain goes to. After searching around again for the outlet, the guy that came out decided to jet from the actual wash bay side, like through the barn, see if he could clear the blockage that way and maybe figure out exactly where this water was going to. I was actually quite curious to see exactly where this line went to because it kind of seemed to be a bit of a mystery. All of a sudden there's like an explosion outside. We rush over and go and see, and there's just black goo and water has just exploded out of the grass, seemingly from nowhere. We went out to investigate and actually found the line did come out in the grass, but over 8 years of it being grown over and dirt getting in there and grass growing out of the pipe, it was like a good 3 feet down into the ground, into the grass. I'd been driving the lawnmower over it and didn't even know it was there. Once we started digging out, we found pieces of like porcelain, like looked like an old toilet or something was there. It's kind of strange, but either way, we finally found out where it is, so hopefully if it ever gets blocked up again, I know exactly where to go to fix it. It's just another day at the office for me, you know, it's not just riding horses, it's figuring out the day-to-day problems of a farm. A couple $100 down the drain. But either way, couldn't have a blocked drain, got to deal with it, life goes on. So we have a new mare in the barn with us at the moment. Her name's Revie. She's a 10-year-old 15-3 thoroughbred chestnut. And I'm actually kind of excited. She's been here just for a little over a week now. And she's come up from North Carolina. Basically, I have the opportunity here to evaluate her to see what I think. And I'm pretty hot on her. I think she looks kind of like the type that I'm looking for as far as a future event horse prospect. Come on, Revie.
Really excited to have Revie here. Yet again, another chestnut mare, which is awesome because I love chestnut mares. And who doesn't like a good thoroughbred? I mean, especially for eventing. So I'm excited about her. And I think Dom's really excited about her. She is not Dom's typical ride, and you look at her on paper and I don't think she would be the one that Dom would choose, but they seem to be getting along really well, and the prospect of the whole thing is really, really exciting.
One of Revie's biggest strengths is her jump. She's got a fantastic big scopy jump, but I'm also kind of taking a bit of a closer look at her in the dressage. The fact that she's a thoroughbred tends to put her on the side that she's not going to have huge impressive movement, which isn't everything, but I really want to make sure she's going to be a good, rideable, trainable horse. I have been noticing as I get to know her a little bit that she's actually quite a good mover over all three gaits, and she seems very rideable on the flat. She's got a couple little things going on. Sometimes she can get a little inconsistent on the bridle. Sometimes she's a little one-sided, one way versus the other. But overall, looking at the big picture, I think it's all pretty small stuff that's going to only improve with time. So I'm pretty satisfied with her on the flat, and I'm confident she could get a pretty good score at the show. You know, for a small horse, for a thoroughbred, I feel like she's a good mover, and she has some presence, even though she's little.
Yeah, I think so too. She creates a very, really pleasant picture.
Yeah. And she's very broke on the flat, she's rideable, she listens to everything. She just has some niggly little habits, but what horse doesn't, you know? In
watching Revie go on the flat a little bit, I kind of picked her apart because that's a little bit what I do. But she doesn't have that much to pick apart. She's a really good mover and she creates a really nice picture. She's got a little bit of funny stuff in the mouth, which I think Dom will work out really quick.
With any horse, it's just spending the hours training her. You know, she's got a good base, and anything that she does that's not great, you know, we just got to keep chipping away at until it's better.
That's really good.
Easy girl. He's like, I can go really fast.
Yeah.
Atta girl.
She kind of has a little bit of zing about her, which I like, and she's a girl, and she's a little bit sassy, and I think that she could be something really cool, and I think, you know, I can picture her in an FEI ring and trotting around and doing a really good test.
I think she's going to be really good. And also too, I still have to get to know her a little bit better. And
yeah.
She's very, very different from all the others that I've been riding. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever had a horse, well, not since I was a kid, that's been this size, you know? I'm serious.
What, your size?
Well,
no, she is. She's on the smaller side, but I don't think that it hinders her at all.
No. I think she'd be a really cool one to try and syndicate. I'm actually going to try something new that I've never done before, and that's syndicating her. or at least try to. So basically the way a syndicate works is rather than owning the horse or buying the horse just for yourself, you actually offer the horse for sale to a group of people, and they each buy shares, kind of like a company. And then that way, it makes it a bit more affordable, and then it shares the expenses across more people, which kind of is good for everyone.
Dom and I haven't done a syndication before, so this is new territory for us. But I think that if it works out really well, it should be good for us to use in the future.
She could be a really good candidate for this, mainly because she's a mare. So not only is she a good competition horse and will probably, go on and do a 3-star, but at the end of her competition career, we probably would breed her. She's a lovely type, and she's got a great brain. So it's kind of a unique scenario where people could get on board for kind of a journey. Do you like her?
I do like her. I like her a lot. Well, you know me, I love chestnut mares.
Hey. Wait a second. All right then. Well, I should get to work on my possible syndicate. You want to come it out, please? Basically, the biggest thing I need to do is, if there's interested people out there, I need to kind of get them to get a feel for the horse without necessarily meeting her. So the first thing I did was get my friend Grace Darnell to take some professional pictures of her, and I'm really happy with how they've turned out. You can see, like, this is a confirmation shot, and that's one of her best attributes. And I just wanted people to sort of feel like they know the horse without having necessarily ever met her, and I think these pictures did a really great job of showing her attitude off. The next thing I do is I'm going to basically put together a proposal, much like a business proposal. There's a cover letter, kind of introduces what I'm doing. Then it gets into the meat of it, where it describes the terms of what I'm thinking, how much, how many shares, what's going to happen in certain scenarios, etc., etc. And basically, I just put it out there to people who show some interest and see what I can get. Like I said, I am kind of a little nervous, excited. I really don't want to let this opportunity slip through my fingers. So I'm trying to get busy and get this together and get it out there as soon as possible, so that hopefully, fingers crossed, if all goes to plan, Revie could be another horse that I can hopefully take to the top. So we'll see. After a bit of a crappy start to my summer, it's exciting to have something going on that's getting me really motivated. I feel happy to have Revie here. I hope I can keep the ride on her, and we can work together for an exciting future.
Right now, I've got a confession to make. I've fallen in love, head over heels. I've fallen in love with a tall, smooth, slender, Italian tall boot. Look at these bad boys. Aren't they incredible? These are my new Tucci boots. So Tucci is an Italian tall boot company that sponsored me and Jimmy. And it's taken several months for them to actually get them made. They're custom made for my legs. It's the first time I've ever had it. And these just, I cannot stop looking at them. So I'm heading down to our friend Jill's, to Malvern Saddlery, which is where the boots come in. And they've been ready here for a couple of weeks, but I just haven't had a chance to come and get them. If you look at my boots, I kind of have hobbit feet in that they're really big and flat and hairy, but I also have kind of skinny ankles. So all the boots I've ever had before have either been fitted to my feet, in which case I've got giant tube legs, or they've been fitted to my legs and I have to squash my hobbit feet in a narrow boot. So it's so nice to actually have a pair of boots that feels like it was made for me. Not to mention they're just so darn good looking. And the gray top is kind of bold. It's not many people have this color on the top of their boots, but I was trying to be brave and a little fashion forward, and I was willing to give it a try.
I've had much
They're
more
perfect.
challenging.
Oh yeah. Trying them on for the first time was super exciting. I mean, you've always got this kind of feeling, this fear that maybe they're not going to fit, and they've just come all the way from Italy and been handmade for 3 months, and all of a sudden someone's got a measurement wrong. But she got the zipper up, which is always kind of a sigh of relief. I've been eating too many cheeseburgers. The first thing I noticed is that A, they're incredible, and B, I couldn't really feel my toes. But that's normally because they have such a tight fit and the leather hasn't really had a chance to warm up and stretch. They often feel a bit tight to start with, but as I walked around in them for 10 minutes, they started to just mold to my leg and feel like a second skin almost. And they're not too tight, they just feel like they feel firm, and I know they'll loosen up, but they feel great.
It is such a soft leather. I mean, I've had seriously way tighter to fit initially, and
Right, yeah.
and what I find is, you know, once we get people in them, if they just shop for 15 minutes, it's
Right.
like all of a sudden, oh, okay.
Not too bad.
You know what I mean? Because they're just with the warmth of your leg and taking on the shape of your leg.
They
it
look
won't take
so
anything.
good. I'm secretly very jealous of Dom's boots. They're so cool with that like two-tone and the gray and the Schramm on the side.
It has my freaking name engraved on the side. See that? If you can't see it, it says Schramm right here. Really cool.
Very similar to Dom's birthday present ordeal. We were going there getting something for him, and I, of course, wanted something for myself. So I talked Dom into letting me try on some paddock boots and half chaps.
I fear I may have made 2 mistakes here. The first one is getting a sponsorship deal with a company like Tucci that has about 15 million different customizable options on all their boots. So you've just got so many options. The second mistake I may have made is basically give Jimmy permission to get another pair because we love them so much. She's going crazy right now, and all I can see in my head is dollar signs. You like them? They're kind of cool, huh?
The cool thing about Tucci is they have like unlimited options. Navy, brown, red, black, patent leather, punched hole. I mean, it was crazy, but so awesome. Okay, well, I definitely like the brown, I think.
Okay, I think we're all pretty much.
I think the brown looks good.
The brown looks cool.
And it won't be that hard for you to wear breeches that you think go better with the brown. Like, that's not hard. Jill is very fashionable, and actually my wife Jimmy loves fashion, always has, loves retail and dressing nice and all that stuff. So it's actually kind of fun for these girls because I'm kind of like a blank canvas, if you will. I'm not particularly fashion savvy. All jokes aside, it's actually kind of important that I start addressing that because, you know, I'm supposed to be a professional rider and representing horses and brands and stuff like that. I should probably work on my look. It's funny because we were thinking, because I'm not real fashion forward, and I was like, oh, you know, because Jimmy and Jill talked me into the grey tops. We tried it on right at the very end, right?
Yeah, and it was awesome.
And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to do that. Like, I can't imagine it. And now I'm so glad that we did. They look awesome.
Beautiful.
I'll have to, if I get a new, I gotta get a new jacket, but I don't feel bad. I've never had a brand new jacket before. I've always had secondhand ones, and it's my first pair of custom boots, so I don't feel bad spending a bit of money. It's time.
Yeah, it is time.
Either way, I'm so grateful to the guys at Tucci for building me my custom boots, and also Jill at Malvern. She did a really good job measuring me up and making sure they fit perfect. And I'll check in maybe a couple episodes time and let you know how I break them in. But they look like they're gonna do the job just nicely.